Hello all, welcome to this 12th tutorial of Infor ERP LN technical training series. This is a continuation of our last tutorial where we created a table definition and a table in Infor ERP LN. So if you have not watched that video, I will recommend to have a look at tutorial 11 before going ahead with this tutorial. So in my last tutorial, we created a table definition for TCIBD 998 table. So let's go ahead and take a look. So to do that, again, you have to go to Tools, Application Development, Domains and Tables, and Table Definition. Now you can see that we have this new table definition created, which is called item data. Now in this tutorial, we will go through all the different properties, attributes, and things related to a table definition which needs to be understood before going ahead and creating a new table definition. So let's start. So the first section here, it tells you about the table fields a table definition has. So you can put number of fields in this. Right now we have two different fields. The first is item and the second is description. So let's double click on item. You can see there are a lot of different properties and attributes over here. So let's start with the first one. It's field name. So how to decide a field name? The first and the very strict rule and a recommendation from the standard product is that you have to go with only 4 characters. Wherever possible, as much as possible, make sure that you are not exceeding 4 characters for a table field. Keep it 4 wherever and whenever possible. Just note it down in your notes if you are doing that. So the second rule is you should be able to identify the field by its name. Say in this case we have field name as item. I can easily identify that this particular field is going to store the value for item code. Say you want to store something like amount, you can give it as AMND. Say you have to store order number, you can say it as ORNO, like that. So your field name should be such that it should give you an overview of what it stores. The second thing is sequence number. Now in a particular table definition there could be n number of different fields. So for every field there should be a sequence number. So in this case you can see that I have 2 fields and the sequence number was automatically generated when we create a new field. Now say we click on new button, it will automatically create a new sequence number for a new field. So this is how the sequence number is. Now say tomorrow you need to change the sequence number from 2 to 1 and 1 to 2. In that case you can just simply go ahead and double click on this and change the sequence number here. Once you do that, you can go to specific and select renumber. When you do that, the list, what you see here, gets sorted. The thing related to this sequence number is when you open your display table maintenance session, you can see those fields sorted by sequence number. So this is how it will work. The next thing is combined field. Now, when 2 or more fields are combined, we call it as a combined field. Now, let's say I have to combine 2 fields like order number and position number, right? So in order to do that, I'll create a new combined field called, suppose, CMBA, which is a combined field. I'll make sure that I check this checkbox When I check this checkbox here, the child fields will be enabled. So I have to put all the child fields related to this combined field. So right now we don't need to do it because this is not a combined field, it's a standalone field. So when can we use combined field? So say when you want to use it as an index or you want to have a reference to other tables, at that time you can go ahead with the combined fields. You can take a look at a standard table like TDSLS 401 to take an example related to combined fields. So there are many such standard tables where you can find combined fields like ACP 200, etc. So whenever you feel that a particular set of field can be used widely in many different sessions, forms, designs, etc., you can create a set of that and combine it to create a new combined field and then use it in your table definition. The second is mandatory input. Now, say when you are inserting a record in your table, and you want to make sure that a particular field needs to be mandatory for input. In that case, there are two ways to do it. You can either do it programmatically, like when a user tries to enter a record from a session, you can check the data related to that field and make the validations on script level. The second is using your table definition. Now, if I check this checkbox, when a user is trying to insert a record or some external third-party application is trying to insert a record in this particular table or update a record, it will check this particular property. If this checkbox is checked and that field is not filled, it will give an error that the field is mandatory. So this is how it works. So right now I'm not making it mandatory. The next is repeating field. This is not widely used, but just for our understanding, the field which repeats itself multiple times is called a repeating field. So say I have this item code repeating as 2 times, it will appear in my table definition 2 times with same characteristics, same properties, etc. The next is domain name. This is already covered in one of my tutorial about domains and tables. So domain is nothing but a data type related to your field. So it could be either string domain or date domain or enumerated domain, etc. Next section is related to BOI, which is business object identifier. So we'll skip this for now. The next is initial value. Now say we have a table definition, table field with an enumerated value, enumerated domain like TCS. So whenever you have an enumerated domain, you must need to enter an initial value. So in this case, it will ask you for an initial value. So you should either give it as yes or no, depending on whatever you need. So whenever you insert a record in this table and say you don't uh, provide a specific value to this field item, so it will automatically pick the value from this initial value field and it will set it there. So this is how the initial value works. The next is label, which we already covered. So this relates to your the label of the particular field. So in this case we have the label as my item. So whenever you create a new label, a label code will be generated. So this will be shown over here. So this is how you create your field with these properties. On the second tab, this is one of the very important section where we have to set the references, etc. So for this table, I have not set the references or not set any referential integrity. So referential integrity, what is referential integrity? So say you have two tables. The first table has employee name and employee code, and the second table has employee address, employee job, salary, job description, employee department, etc. Now, the first table X is storing the basic data related to your employee, which is his employee number and his name. The second table is storing the summarized data like his job role, his salary, his picture, etc. The XYZ details of the employee. Now, you want to make sure that when you delete the record from the master table, that is the base table of your employee, it should check that no other references are present for this particular employee in table Y. In order to do that, you use references. Now, in Infor ERP LN, we do have referential integrity maintenance, and you do it from here. Now, say I have to make sure that this particular item from my table should not be deleted when its reference exists in one of the other tables. So let's take a look at TCIBD001. So this is the standard master data table for item. Now we have different modes of referential integrity. The first is not applicable. So when you delete or update any record in my table, it will not check any referential integrity or references in TCIBD 001 if the value for reference mode is not applicable. The second is mandatory. Now, when you delete a record, okay, when you delete a record or insert a record in this particular table, it should have, the item code should have a reference in TCIBD 001. Now say you are entering an item code as ABC. Now this value is checked in TCIBD 001. If that item is present in TCIBD 001, it will be successfully inserted or inserted in your table. But if that particular item code ABC is not present in TCIBD 001, it will give you an error. Now what error you will get? The error which you will get will be the reference message you put up over here. So it could be anything like reference does not exist or item code missing in the master table, anything you can put over here. You just have to select your message which you need to select for this error and just save it. The third is not mandatory. So the third is again it's similar to your not applicable thing because it is not mandatory to check to have that ABC value present in the CIBD 001. So whether it's present in TCIBD 001 or absent, it does not matter. So if it's not mandatory, it is not going to matter. The third is mandatory unless empty. Now, if I am entering the value for item code as empty, in that case it won't be checked in your TCIBD 001. But if I'm entering some value over here, it is going to check the reference in TCIBD 001. So this is what it means. When you create a record in your table And for a field, you have a referential integrity set as mandatory unless empty. And if you are keeping that field as blank, it won't check any referential integrity. But if you are keeping some value in this particular field, it will check for the reference. So this is what it means. So we have covered all the four. For more information on this, you can simply click on this "What's this" button and click on your reference mode, and it will give you the help file. Here you have all the information related to this field. Now we have checked this as well. The next part is checked by DBMS. Now this is related to more or related to your database actions. When you use delete mode as child will be deleted. Okay. Now suppose this is my
Not talking to you.
parent table
You are a bad boy.
TCIBD998.
Just a bad
Okay.
piece of shit.
And I have one more table which is referencing this
से
table.
खाता है पेपर
Okay.
खाता है
And
मस्ती
if I
करता है
delete a record from this table, and if you have delete mode as child will be deleted, then all the reference data records related to this particular item in its child table will be removed automatically. So this is what it means. The next is restricted with counter. So say this is my parent table TCIBD998, and I have one more table with the child records in say TCIBD999. In that case, if I'm deleting this item code from 998, then it won't let you delete because it has some existing references in other table, and it will give you some message like cannot delete reference exists, something like that. Okay. Also with counter, what it means, it will show you how many such child records are present for this parent record. So it will give you a count of your child nodes, child records. The next is nullifies. So say you delete item code from a parent. Okay. So what nullifies will do, it will simply nullify the values in the reference table and make it as blank or XXX, any other default value. So it will just nullify those records and remove all the references. So this is how nullifies work. The next is no check. So this is by default, it is no check. So there will be no such database level check on this field for referential integrity. The next is lookup restricted. Now it works similar to your restricted with counter, but it won't give any count of the number of fields which are being referenced to this particular field or records, number of records. It won't give the count of that, but it will restrict its deletion. The next update mode, it works similar to your update mode, but it will only be triggered when your field is updated, the record is updated for this particular field. Okay, so this is all we have on our table definition. Okay, so this is all we have, all the properties we have covered. So I just wanted to let you know that we, I just wanted to make sure that we should not miss anything. Coming back to indexes. So indices, when you double click on indices, again there are multiple options over here. You can easily you can see that you can add 24 indexes to your table. Now say I have two different indices. Okay, the first is item. Okay, and we will create one more index, say index number 2, because if you create one it will say that record already exists, so you have to create the index number 2. and index number 2 will give it as DSC. Now there is an option to select duplicates, right? So say you have like 1000 records in this table with item codes as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 1000. Now every item has a unique name like XYZ, anything, ABCD, ones, any random name, okay? But you have to keep the descriptions as unique. So in that case, you will create one more index for this table and make the description field as its index. Though again, it is not it is not recommended to put such string values index in such cases. But if there is a requirement, you can put your description as index as well. And say you don't want to have unique values, but you just want to keep it as your index so that you can easily filter or search the data in your table based on the index, then you can simply click on this duplicates. So what this will do, it will keep your description as your index for this table, but it will allow the duplicate values. So say you have 10 items with same description, it will allow you to insert the record with same description for two different items. But you can simply use that description as your index field while fetching the data from your table. So this is how your table indices work. So I think we have covered everything over here, and I hope we have not missed anything. In case we have missed anything, please let me know in your comments, and please like, share, and subscribe this channel. And thank you for your support, and thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye.